they did it again. WWE just proved they have absolutely zero respect for your intelligence as a fan. Last night on Raw, they threw together the most predictable, overbooked, chaotic mess of a segment, and somehow, they expect us to believe this wasn't the exact same recycled garbage they've been feeding us for the last decade. Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, Cody Rhodes, Centimeter Punk, all the Golden Boys in one ring, throwing worked punches while security pretends to hold them back. And you know what the worst part is? It's going to work. It's going to draw. Because we're all going to tune into WarGames anyway, aren't we? We're going to sit there, wallets open, ready to consume whatever slop they serve us on a silver platter. But here's what they don't want you to realize: this brawl wasn't about building legitimate heat. It wasn't about creating compelling television. It was about one thing and one thing only: making sure you forget that WWE has been booking themselves into a corner for months, and now they are desperately trying to punch their way out with the same tired formula that's been falling apart since the Attitude Era ended. Let me break down exactly what happened last night, and more importantly, why it happened. Because once you see the puppet strings, you can never unsee them. The show opened with Cody Rhodes in the ring, because of course it did. Golden Boy Cody, the man who can do no wrong in WWE's eyes, standing there with his weight of the world expression, talking about legacy and finishing his story. Again, for the 1000th time. Now don't get me wrong, Cody's talented. But how many times are we going to hear the same speech about the American Nightmare needing to prove himself? The man already main event WrestleMania twice. He's already beaten Roman Reigns for the title. What more does he need to prove? At what point does perseverance become stale? Then out comes Centimeter Punk, and the crowd absolutely erupts. Say what you want about Punk, and believe me, there's plenty to say, but the man knows how to work a crowd like nobody else in that locker room. He gets on the microphone and immediately starts poking holes in Cody's narrative, calling him out for always playing the victim, always needing to be the center of attention. And you know what? He's not wrong. Punk might be the biggest hypocrite in wrestling history, but a broken clock is right twice a day. The tension between them is palpable, and for about 90 seconds, it actually feels real. It feels like two guys who genuinely can't stand each other are about to throw down. This is what we tune in for: authentic emotion, real conflict, the kind of edge that made wrestling appointment television in the first place. But then WWE does what WWE always does. They overbooked it. Roman Reigns' music hits. The tribal chief makes his entrance, flanked by Solo Psycho and the rest of the bloodline, because apparently Roman can't walk to the ring by himself anymore without his entire family tree behind him. And look, I get it, the bloodline story has been money for years. But at a certain point, you have to ask yourself, is Roman Reigns a compelling character, or is he just being propped up by the same faction warfare storyline that's been done to death since the NWO? Here's a question for you in the comments: do you think Roman Reigns would still be as dominant without the bloodline backing him up, or has WWE just been hiding his limitations behind faction warfare? Drop your thoughts below. So now we've got three megastars in and around the ring, the crowd is going absolutely nuclear, and you can feel that something big is about to go down. The verbal sparring continues, each man taking shots at the other, reminding us why they deserve to be in the main event of WarGames. Rhodes talks about redemption. Punk talks about being the best in the world. Roman talks about being the head of the table and how nobody in that ring has accomplished what he's accomplished. And then, right when you think this segment might actually deliver something memorable, something we haven't seen 100 times before, Brock Lesnar's music hits. Now listen, I'm as big a Brock Lesnar fan as anyone. The man is a legitimate monster, a freak athlete who can do things nobody else on the roster can do. When Brock shows up, it matters. But here's my problem: WWE has used Brock as their break glass in case of emergency button so many times that it's starting to lose its impact. Oh, ratings are down? Send out Brock. Oh, we need to make this segment feel important? Send out Brock. Oh, we've written ourselves into a corner and don't know how to create organic heat? Send out Brock. Lesnar storms the ring, and within seconds, all hell breaks loose. Punches are flying, bodies are crashing into each other, and security floods the ring like cockroaches when you turn on a kitchen light. And this is where WWE completely insulted our intelligence. They had dozens of security guards, referees, and backstage agents trying to separate these guys, and yet somehow, these four men kept breaking through and attacking each other, over and over again. If your security team is that incompetent, maybe hire better security. Just a thought. The brawl spills to the outside, crashes through the barricade, goes up the ramp, comes back down. It's chaos for the sake of chaos. And sure, it looks visually impressive. Sure, the crowd is eating it up. But what is this actually accomplishing from a storytelling perspective? We already knew these guys didn't like each other. We already knew they were going to be on opposite sides at WarGames. This segment didn't reveal any new information, didn't develop any characters, didn't push any storylines forward. It was just violence for the sake of violence, carnage for the sake of carnage. And before you come at me in the comments saying it's wrestling, it's supposed to be fun, stop overthinking it. No, wrestling is storytelling. The best wrestling has always been about stories that make you feel something, characters you're invested in, conflicts that feel real and personal. This wasn't storytelling. This was WWE throwing all their top stars into a blender and hitting the chaos button because they know it'll get social media talking. Here's another question for you: which superstar came out of that brawl looking the strongest, and why? I want to hear your takes in the comment section. What really gets me about this whole situation is the missed opportunity. You have 4 of the biggest names in wrestling history in one segment, and instead of giving us nuanced character work, instead of building genuine animosity through words and psychology, WWE went straight for the cheap pop. They went for the instant gratification of a brawl, knowing that short-form clips of it would go viral on social media, without stopping to think about whether it actually served the larger story they are trying to tell going into WarGames. And let's talk about WarGames for a second, because that's what this is all building toward, right? WarGames is supposed to be WWE's most brutal, unforgiving match concept. It's 2 rings, a steel cage, and absolute warfare. But if you're giving us a massive brawl on free television the week before the pay-per-view, what's left for the actual event? How are you going to top this? How are you going to make WarGames feel special when you've already given us the money shot for free? This is the problem with modern WWE booking. There's no delayed gratification anymore. There's no slow burn. Everything has to be epic and historic and unprecedented every single week, which means nothing actually feels special when it matters. They've conditioned the audience to expect chaos constantly, so when chaos is all you deliver, it stops meaning anything. But here's what's really going on behind the scenes, and this is what WWE doesn't want you to realize: they are terrified. They are terrified that in today's attention economy, if they don't deliver instant gratification, you'll change the channel. You'll scroll to another video. You'll check your phone. So they pack every segment with as much star power and as many big moments as possible, hoping that something, anything, will stick. The sad part? It works. That brawl is going to be all over wrestling websites today. It's going to be dissected on podcasts. It's going to rack up millions of views on YouTube. And WWE will point to those metrics as proof that their approach is working, never stopping to ask whether they are building sustainable, long-term storytelling or just getting cheap short-term pops. One more question for the comment section: if you were booking WarGames with these 4 superstars, how would you have built to it differently? What would your ideal storyline have been? Look, I'm not saying the brawl wasn't entertaining. On a pure visceral level, watching Brock Lesnar throw centimeter punk through a table is always going to be fun. Seeing Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes trading blows is always going to get a reaction. But entertainment and good storytelling aren't always the same thing. And right now, WWE is so focused on the former that they've completely abandoned the latter. The real tragedy is that all 4 of these men are capable of so much more. Roman Reigns, when given the right material, is one of the best character workers in the company. Centimeter Punk is arguably the greatest talker of his generation. Cody Rhodes has proven he can carry emotional storylines. Brock Lesnar is a once-in-a-generation athlete who brings legitimacy to everything he touches. These aren't just random guys, these are generational talents. And WWE is wasting them on recycled brawl segments that we've seen 1,000 times before. So yeah, I'll be watching WarGames. We'll all be watching WarGames. Because despite everything I just said, despite all the overbooked nonsense and the predictable chaos, these 4 men are still at the top of the industry for a reason. And maybe, just maybe, WWE will actually deliver something special when it counts. But based on last night's Raw, I'm not holding my breath. Now it's your turn. Sound off in the comments. Tell me if you love the brawl or if you're as frustrated as I am. And make sure you're subscribed to Wrestling Zone 1, because we're going to be breaking down every second of WarGames when it happens. This is wrestling, and we deserve better.